We're back! Welcome to another episode of TFG Tackles. It's been a while since the last episode happened. Of course, Indian football entered a summer break, so did we. But now we're back. We've got the football season full blown going on. We've got the ISL has already started. Calcutta Football League is already over. We've got Shillong Premier League happening, Mizoram Premier League, Goa Professional League just started. And of course, Indian national team is also back in action for an international friendly against the Chinese national team, a historic one, but they're going to travel to China and face them, I think, for the first time in an international friendly since the two nations started playing professional football as independent countries. Kevin is with me. He's joining from his home in Mumbai. So Kevin, how does it feel to be back? Exciting match coming up.
Oh, it's been a great time. Actually, we've been missing Indian football for too long, and in a right way to get started again. We're talking about the senior national team, and we are heading into one of the forays that we've not done well in the past, and it's a good test for us. We're talking about getting back into shape, getting back into the form, and getting back into the groove, heading into the Asian Cup. That is not very far away from today. But yes, Chiranjit, it's great to again come back to talk about Indian football, and what better way to start than it can be this one way. The Indian national senior side that's heading to China to play a friendly game. So it's just one game, but again, it's everything is built up as you said, going forward from this one game.
Yes, Kevin, of course, the China versus India international friendly is going to be the focal point of this episode. But before that, let's take a quick look around what's happening in Indian football elsewhere. Of course, Shillong Premier League is on, and Shillong Lajong are not having the best of times. Of course, it's a developmental side that's being fielded in the local league, and they're getting some pretty solid competition. They just got held to a 2-2 draw in a cracker of a match by Somar FC, and it's just an example of how deep the talent pool goes in Meghalaya. And a similar situation is unfolding in Mizoram, where the Mizoram Premier League is on. In my opinion, the best local league in the country. It's a shame we don't get to see it live. Aizawl FC, I-League champions from 2016-17 are playing, and they're going up against arch rivals like Chanmari FC, Chingaweng. But of course, again, it's a developmental team, lots of young players, academy products that are playing, and they're not having a great time. Chingaweng, of course, is still dominating. They won the league last time, and I want to show you this one clip of this goal. The game was a 2-2 draw, but look at this shot. He gets it from the middle of the pitch. Look at the range on that. The goalkeeper is completely caught off position. That's what's happening in those local leagues. And of course, ISL is going on in full swing. 2 rounds in, they're on an international break right now. But look at that point table. Look at that points table. How many teams with 4 points? If things go this way, and the way some of the better shaped teams have showed how they're competitive with each other so far, if this carries on, we're going to have a very mouth-watering top 4 race going into the season. And the last game that happened in ISL before they went into the break was Bengaluru FC versus Jamshedpur FC. An amazing game, another 2-2 draw which was full of drama and action, late goals. And I want to be talking about that action, but unfortunately the conversation around the match took a very downward turn when there was a dispute about the age of Gaurav, Mukhi, one of the Jamshedpur FC players. It emerged after the match. He scored a brilliant goal, and the commentators hailed him as the youngest ever scorer in the ISL. And later it turns out, well, there's some sketchiness around his date of birth. Apparently, there are some documents that say he was born in 1999. Some documents that are saying apparently now that he was born in 2002. It's just an unfortunate thing to look at. Kevin, what's your take?
I think if we just look at the goal was amazing, and the draw that Jamshedpur got against Bengaluru was just totally shakes up the table over there. Coming back to the main topic, you can always keep the quality of the goal aside, and when somebody's put out a statement like he's the youngest goal scorer, everybody starts digging into it, and it's alarming that we are heading into this situation. the ISL obviously is not yet the top division in India, but it's close to that. It's already got an AFC spot. And when you talk about age-fudging at a level where you reach close to the AFC Cup spot, it doesn't bring too much of glamour into the league that has already gone ahead with a good repute and status.
Kevin, I think we should be clear about the problem here. The goal he scored, that stands, because ISL is senior level football. Your age doesn't matter as long as you're good enough. So nothing is taking away from that. But if he in the past or now has fudged his age, then Jamshedpur FC might be in the line for registering him as a developmental player. Which I don't know, if he's 19 years old, he may still be eligible to be a developmental player, but it's a bit sketchy. Personally, he may be in trouble for age fudging if he has done that. I think the AFF is looking into it. The player status committee or the technical committee will come out with a verdict soon, and everything will be clear. Carry on, Kevin.
No, it doesn't matter if he's 19. I think even if the player is 18, he can be part of the reserve squad. And we've seen Jerry Lardinjola also coming up to the ranks, and he's probably holding that record, as you can put it, as the youngest player there in the ISL. But we are really talking about an issue which was not to be brought up in a way it came up, and it's pointing in the other direction. It's not. It's an issue that has been plagued in football, not just Indian football. It's there. Most of the countries that have faced have been bogged down because of this, and it questions our integrity. Where are we going wrong? Where have we started to make those manipulations? And it really it does go down to a lot of levels. It can be with the coach, it can be with the school, it can be with the district FA. It's at different places. But we're talking about the AIFF, where the data is coming from. And if we really get into if that is a foolproof method, we still look at it as the only source of correct age information to be validated. Probably we've seen cases before this, but this is something that has come at a very highest level. Although it does not take away anything from the goal that he scored or the draw that Jamshedpur got against Bengaluru, but it's a separate matter that should be taken up probably at a different level. Not really what we're talking about ISL over here.
Of course, Kevin, but to be honest about it, this is bigger than football. Age fudging doesn't just happen in Indian football or world football. It happens in every sport and other places in society. People fudge their age to be eligible for exams and all that stuff. It's crazy how many people out there try manipulating their legal age to exert certain benefits. On Monday, we had on the TFG Indian Football podcast the Indian under-15 women's team coach Fermin D'Souza. He was in the studio, and the topic came up, Kevin, and he told us about the central registration system and how it's slowly going to affect a change by registering players early on. Of course, in online we have seen debates going on about this matter. How if you change a few letters of your name, suddenly you are off the hook. Your original age in the CRS is no longer there, and you can enter a new profile and a new age, and you can be re-registered basically. But it's too soon, for us to expect for the entire problem to be fixed. It's been going on for decades, and the steps to correct this have been taken in the last 5 years. It's not going to go away overnight. The past offenders are still going to be there. If we start trying to find them, I think we won't have enough players left to run one league, let alone 2 leagues in the country. We should be patient. That's all I'm saying. The issue about changing some letters of your name and getting around the CRS, that can be fixed by a software patch. That's all it takes. The CRS can be improved as time goes on. The vigilancy that clubs take to catch players who have not been 100% honest about their age, those can be improved as well over time. Of course, there's still going to be some cheaters, but it's about bringing that percentage down to a manageable level. Of course, we're going to track this story and tell you what happened and the repercussions of what he has done. If in fact he's guilty, we don't know. We need to wait for what the AIFF comes up with on this matter. But let's make a segue into the Indian national team from here. It's been an interesting few months when we've been off. India went into the SAF Championship with their under-23 squad and lost the final to Maldives. This came after the Indian Olympic Association refused to let India participate in the Asian Games. How stupid was that? But Stephen Constantine said that even if he got to play in the Asian Games, he would still bring his under-23 team because he believed in trying out his young players and seeing how they can fit into the Asian Cup squad going forward. But was it worth it, Kevin? We went there. Of course, most of the teams were not in our level. Even for our under-23 team, we got to see some really good games. But we lost the crown, the SAF Championship trophy that we count on to be with us every couple of years. We lost it to Maldives. Did the returns that we got by getting a good look at the players, was it worth losing the trophy?
Yeah, obviously, every tournament gives us a lesson, and this was for the future. The one lesson that we did get through is how can the young generation, the next lot, the next batch that we can look at, probably one or two names, and I think we've already achieved that. Anirudh Thapa has come along a long way, and he is a part of the national team, but somewhere we've seen that. That confidence lacking, and this was a tournament to try out our youngsters there, almost in an entire under-23 team heading into the SAF, and it was a trial and error method that I think it really got us thinking, is this the right step to take towards development of the next generation of players. And in a way, I think we should be content about what we got from the SAF Championship. At least we know that at least in the continental scene, if we had to see in the regional aspect, I think we can quite take that big step forward, looking at the youngsters that are following up.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we should be very happy by what we saw, Kevin. And of course, the process is not over yet. It seems Constantine is still looking around for extra players to fill the holes he has in the Asian Cup squad, and he has taken more than a dozen under-23 players to China for Saturday's international friendly against China. And Kevin, this one looks like a very tough one. Look at this Chinese team, man. It's an experienced side to say the least. They've got 12 players who've got 30 caps or more in the squad. They are looking at the Indian national team match on Saturday. That one is the warm-up game for them. They're playing Syria on the 16th. That's the one they're really looking forward to. India is just a stepping stone. That's the vibe I'm getting. What do you think? How is this going to turn out for India?
No, it is a bold step, I would say, but at some point of time, it has to culminate. The reason that we're talking about taking a younger squad, somewhere we need to test ourselves, and friendlies. If not now, then when? We're probably making the right step. Maybe even if we call it as a baby step, but we're getting into there. SAF Championship was a whole new level that we went ahead. Probably if we had played in the Asian Games as well, it could have been along the same pathway. But we leave that aside. Something that we've not taken part in. But yes, the China friendly, playing in China, that's going to be an extreme weather conditions also that we will not face, and it's a good test to have more of a young squad and less of the experience to gel up as an entire team.
Kevin, again, does it seem worth it, man? We are taking our youngsters into a battle where Chinese are putting up all their veterans. Is this gonna turn out well?
Well, we're talking about experience. We're talking about young players doing well at the domestic level. Players like Wu, Wu Lee, and these are players who you can score at will, and their domestic form itself shows you the prowess that they're coming in with. And the Chinese league, the Chinese Super League also has made its name all over the world, and it's attracted players of high repute into the domestic season, and it's also the commercial value that it's bringing to football. But when you do increase the commercial value, it also somewhere does increase your players' capability to match up to the levels that the league raises. And here we are looking at a team that is mostly, even if they are on the younger side, they do have more national experience, more domestic experience, and probably we've got some players in China team who played abroad as well. So it's a good mix for us to test ourselves. It's not going to be a Nepal that we played over time, over again, just to be a precursor to any tournament. It's going to be it's going to be the biggest test that we faced in recent times.
Yeah, there seems to be an overlaying theme of investing in the future. We're playing China on Saturday, but it's not really about that game. It's about Asian Cup, and even leading up to it, I think we'll have a lot of friendlies where Constantine will field youngsters just to take a look at them, give them the game time, give them the experiment or the experience. He might even do that in the Asian Cup itself because ultimately this is about setting something up for the future. We know this team is not going to win the World Cup or something like that. We're not even going to get into the second round unless we do something really good in the Asian Cup. But again, you take a talented young player out there and you give him a lot of experience of playing at the highest level, well, that sows seeds for future success. On Saturday though, we may be in for a very tough time because we're going up against a team that's far ahead of us on paper. I mean, just look at the players that China has. Gao Lin might be the Sunil Chhetri of that country with 100 caps, 20 goals, and he's gone up and played against some really good teams in the recent times. Wu Lei also is a prolific scorer, so is Yu Dabao. We got some veterans in the midfield in Zhengzi, Zhao Shuri. We got experienced backline, Yu Hai, Feng Xiaoting. The goalkeepers, man, the goalkeepers are absolute stellar. Zheng Cheng probably gonna play. Even Yan Junling at 27 is the youngest keeper who's been picked for these couple of matches. He's comes with a lot of experience playing for Shanghai SIPG. It just seems like we are walking into the Dragon's Den. Man, I think you're saying that China are treating us like we treat Nepal, which is, I have to tell you, doesn't feel good. I think they've just broken my heart. How do you think this game is going to go in, Kevin?
Well, I'll be very pessimistic over here. It doesn't look too hopeful, but again, you need to take that bold step if you want to create a revolution. And the team that we're going to face, China, if we just take a look at the opponents that they've faced in the recent times. You talk about Bahrain, the latest that they played against. Bahrain, they drew 0-0. It was a blank. They drew blank with them, and they were able to display their solid defensive abilities in front of a strong and a physical side like Bahrain. And moreover, the recent cup tournament that we played, Myanmar, Thailand, Wales, and Czech Republic. These are the teams that that they've gone head to head with.
Yeah, I believe it's called China Cup, a tournament that they hold, international one, like we have Intercontinental Cup in India. But the big difference between Intercontinental Cup and the China Cup is that the teams that participate there don't send their B, C, D or youth team like New Zealand and Kenya did to us this time.
Yeah, that's there. When you start playing quality opposition, you automatically be on your toes. Your preparation goes up. Your level of maturity also is improved once you've played tournaments and opponents like this. And we are fortunate to get into China and play a team that is gone to go head to head with such stronger ranking teams in the FIFA rankings. And we actually should be just looking up and looking forward to this game rather than seeing if there are any slight chances that we can get past this team easily. Probably give it a full-hearted try and make sure we're trying all out before we head to the Asian Cup.
So what's your prediction for the game?
So it's not about the results. It's about what you're going there for, and for us, it's going to be what are the combinations that we can try out. Now we've heard about Balwant Singh missing out due to his passport issues, and that's going to be a big hurdle to get over, because Balwant Singh is one of the senior strikers that we have, and striking department is where we lack the most. If we just let alone Sunil Chetri there. So talking about combinations, we've seen what hurt us most is the midfield, especially the center of midfield. What I'd really like to see is a different formation. We're talking about formation that revolves around a 4-4-2. A 4-4-2 becomes more solid defensively, and the 4-4-2, probably we should try something different rather than the standard formation that we were playing. And here we'll see the introduction of some youngsters, coupled with slight, experienced players like Udanta coming into the fray. And that's a couple of things that I'm looking at. I'm really not looking at the score being the dominant or the end result of this tour or the only friendly game that we're playing. It's all about the trial that we want to take forward to the Asian Cup.
Yeah, damn it, man. All this time, Constantine and everybody spent looking for the next Sunil Chetri, whoever can step up and give us goals in big games like he does and convert draws into victories or losses into draws. All that work, you're saying, hasn't happened yet.
Ashik is there, then Farooq Chaudhary is there. You're not looking at goal scorers, you're looking at time for them on the field. They're not really I wouldn't say they're game changers. They would probably be those last minute arrangement of trying to get in, sneak in one goal when done away with 5 or 6 substitutions. That is when probably when your team is 2-0 down and your opposition is already used up all the trials that they want to do, and probably where you have Sumit Pasi or Farooq Chaudhary coming in and knocking in one after we conceded 3 or 4. So that's the kind of role that I see them. But we really should be looking more, not looking at these small things. Really have to look at the bigger picture, where you can see the next Sunil Chetri, you can see the next Lindo from this slot.
So what are you saying? 2-0 loss to India or 3-0, 4-0 worse?
Through 2-0, I'll be pleased. 2-0 a loss. A loss will be pleasing at 2-0.
Yeah, man, my prediction is 2-0 or 3-0. If we get to score a goal, I'll be very happy. And yeah, it sucks, but I don't think India is going to win this game. And I think we should be honest about that. India is not going to win. We'll probably put up a good fight. We'll probably give a better account of ourselves than many of us gave a chance for. Maybe this game will be talked about positively in the media. Maybe we'll hear again the same old words that we always hear about Indian football: fought valiantly but lost. And then we're gonna have the same meltdowns, man, on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. That Constantine out or Indian football is going nowhere. We just lose all the time. We max out every time we try to punch up and go into the next level. Why should we support? There will be an air of negativity over the next couple of weeks until the next game comes out, and maybe we try to win. But who am I kidding? I don't think we're gonna win. Like, who are we playing in November? We're playing Jordan. You think we're gonna beat Jordan? I don't think we are. We're gonna play Oman away before Asian Cup. We're not gonna win that. We might beat Thailand in Asian Cup. Are we going to beat UAE at their own home country? I'm not sure. I'm not optimistic. Bahrain, maybe we'll get a draw. But what does it come to? We'll probably get thrown out of the group stage anyway. So what is this, what's this all for, right? And this is not me saying, right? This is not my dilemma. This is what I always hear from everybody. All my friends online, people ask, why get into Indian football, we never win. It's hard to make you understand, man. It's hard to explain to those people what's going on here. And you said it right. This is about investing for the future. Whenever we are playing, it's not for today, it's not for tomorrow. Maybe it's not even for next 5 years. What we are doing is sowing seeds for the future, and that doesn't just mean the national team, the coaches, the players, or the fans. It's everybody, man. It's the Indian football family, which includes the ISL teams, I-League clubs, second division teams, local league teams, all the thousands of players that play over there, all the grassroots coaches, community coaches, the volunteers who are going out there spreading football, reaching out to different communities, getting more kids to come in and play, just trying to grow the sport in general. Going from the bottom, the 5-year-old kid who is playing at a local academy, all the way up to Reliance or AIFF. Everybody is trying to set up something that will bear fruit much later. It's not for today, you know, and that's why it's so important that we show up now. We have to. I mean, we can't be glory hunters about this, you know. It's the national team, for fuck's sake. It's not some club. I mean, I don't like it when people change clubs also, but it's your only country, man. You don't get a hashtag Meri Dusri country. You are Indian. This is it. Support India. I don't know how else to spell out for you, but football is a cruel sport. It's more competitive than any other sport. I don't know what anyone says. I don't care. You know, in cricket, you get beyond 5-6 countries which are above you, suddenly you are contender for the World Cup. Kabaddi, same thing. Hockey, same thing. It's not as vast as football, you know. It's not a World Cup qualification process where 200 countries are participating seriously. You know, there's not such a big spectrum of quality. You know, we're 95. We're in the top 100, which is supposed to be a great thing for us right now. Well, there's 100 countries above us, and each one of them is serious, man. You know, it's not easy or casual. It's not about okay, अगला आप मैच जीतेंगे, फिर उसके बाद का मैच जीतेंगे, and suddenly we are being celebrated, woohoo, you know, trending on social media and everything is done. It's a long process, and you have to step up every time. Otherwise, this sport punishes you. Give you an example. 1964 Asian Cup, we were runners-up, right? 1968, we did not even enter the qualification process. And what happened? We did not get into another Asian Cup till 1984, right? And by that time, the decline era had started. India had won the Cricket World Cup in 83. Suddenly, the funding for other sports was drying out. All the money was going into cricket. Indian football came way down. I'm not blaming cricket. Right, I'm not blaming any other sport. It's our own fault. It's AIFF and all the clubs' fault that Indian football came down the world ladder. But that's what happened. People didn't show up. Fans like you and me did not show up in enough numbers across the country as they should have, and Indian football suffered. When was the next time we made it into the Asian Cup? 2011, by winning the Challenge Cup, and we lost all our matches. But we fought our hearts out, and Indian football showed up, man. The upward tick started right there. We got the Under-17 World Cup hosting rights. We saw the Indian national team go through a transformation. What else was happening? 2007, club licensing was introduced by I-League, and we had Pune FC, we had Shillong Lajong, who had vibrant youth development happening, and they set the tone, they set the example that you can have youth development and investing in the future as a core part of your club's operations. And what happened then? We got the Arrows, which was another investment towards the future. And how many players came out of those setups? And how many of them ended up in contention for the national team in 2014-15, when the turnaround started for the Indian team with the SAF Championship in 2015-16, right? Since then, we've been going up and reaping the benefits that were sown in 2007, 2010, 2012. And we are, how does it feel now to see our youth team doing well? How does it feel now that in the Asian Under-16 Championship, we gave South Korea a run for their money. Were the individual players that we have, were they better than the South Korean players? No. But we fought. We lost 1-0. But we contained them as a unit. Better coached players make better units, and that's how you take on the better countries. We're not going to be better than Argentina or Brazil or China or Japan in the next 10 years, right? Maybe China we can beat in the next 10 years, but the real big boys in Asia, we're not going to be there in the next 10 years. But we're going to try. We're not going to produce a better player than all the superstars that Japan produces. But as a unit, we can shape ourselves in a way that we can take on those teams, and that's what's happening today. That's what's happening when China is playing India on Saturday. It's all about setting up for those future matches, and it's going to be incremental, right? The progression will be slow and excruciating at times, but you'll see it coming. It'll be like we're 95 now, suddenly 2 years later we're 85, then we're 75, then we're 65, and we will knock in the door of the World Cup qualification. Asian Cup 2027, maybe we'll get into the quarterfinals. Maybe we'll become a contender that everybody respects and fears. 2034, maybe we'll play in the World Cup for the first time, and I don't care where it's happening. I'm hauling my ass over there and singing the national anthem, because that's what this is for. On Saturday, I will watch China beat India, because it's about that day in 2034 when India will be playing World Cup. It's all about setting up for the future success. That's what I'm turning up for. What are you turning up for? Because let's not kid ourselves. We're not going to see India win the World Cup in our lifetimes. I'm not deluded about that. I won't be alive for it. Maybe you won't be either. But maybe the next generation will be. And then we will be known as the generation of fans that turned it all around. So I don't know what else to tell you. It's about showing up now, because if we don't show up today, Indian football will not be better for it tomorrow. So that's our national duty. It's not just the players, it's not just the coaches, it's not the officials of AIFF that are working behind this. We have to do our bit, and slowly that's going to make Indian football better. So yeah. The game is on Saturday, 5 p.m. Indian Standard Time. It's going to be on TV on Star Sports, so you can watch it on TV. If you're in Kolkata or Mumbai, you can turn up at one of the screenings that Blue Pilgrims are hosting. You can go there and see the match with your friends and rival club fans, everybody together, because this is about that. This is about coming together for the national team. And who knows? Something might happen. We beat Kyrgyzstan. That took a lot of work, but we did it. That was a magical moment at Kantirava. We beat Puerto Rico in Mumbai. That was great to watch as well. Maybe something will happen. Maybe Kevin, we will see India put on a very good show against China and in the upcoming friendlies as well. Do you think there's a possibility of that?
I think it's too far away that we can answer the question right now. Probably know the preparation that we're heading into. This is our first step, and probably after 2 or 3 games we play the Jordan and the other Asian countries. That is when we get a clear idea how to look at the Asian Cup and how strong are we heading into the Asian Cup.
I guess so, man. Guys, I want to be honest with you, Indian football is not a place for glory hunters. Just want to be blunt here. Have you ever loved something or somebody without expecting anything in return? Can you do that for India? Ultimately, that's what this comes back to. On Monday, at the TFG Indian Football Podcast, we will discuss what happened in this match. So come back and listen to that. We will be setting up for the resumption of ISL on next week's TFG Tackle. The I-League is also starting on the 26th. We have some really exciting stuff in store for you that we're preparing for on this program. So come back and watch us next week. Thanks for being here, guys.